Why was Sonic in Wreck-It Ralph?
Game over.
He's totally out of place in the film. All the other characters are from arcade games, but besides appearing on Sega-branded claw machines, I've never seen a Sonic arcade game. Well, apparently there's Sega All-Star Racing, the arcade game, so I figured this might be Sonic's stretch for an excuse to appear in the film, but it's not. Rewind, Sonic Mega Collection. Fast forward, Sonic Gems Collection. This was an odds and ends sequel to Sonic Mega Collection, which featured some pretty obscure Sonic games, except for Sonic CD. The rest was It's really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Apparently more titles like Sega Sonic the Hedgehog and Knuckles Chaotix were supposed to be included, but for technical reasons, Sega Sonic wasn't added, and for no reasons, Chaotix wasn't either. Also, yes, I know Sega Sonic the Hedgehog was an arcade game, but it was a Japan exclusive. The three headliner games for Sonic Gems were Sonic CD, Sonic R, and Sonic the Fighters? Alright, what the heck is this? I remember visiting Sonic Central. This was not on the list of games. I swear to God the Sonic Garfield 2-pack was, but not Sonic the Fighters. Seemingly, it was a game that came out of nowhere, and to my delight. When I was like 10, my teacher went around the room asking all of the students what their life goals were. One kid stood up and said, "I want to be the president." One kid stood up and said, "I want to walk on Mars." And I stood up with great pride and said, "I want to be good at fighting games." The whole room laughed. It just wasn't a realistic goal. My dreams were finally shattered when I went to my first Street Fighter 4 tournament at a play-in trade. I had lost my first round. Earlier that day, I had begged my mom to drive me there, but I couldn't work up the courage to tell her that I had lost so quickly and I needed a ride home. I could Hadouken, but I couldn't wash the stains out of my shirt. The stains of my eyeliner mixed with my tears. I also liked My Chemical Romance. Fast forward, this is Sonic's Connection. But by super sleuthing, you can see that the arcade cabinet has a different name in the film. Sonic Championship. Okay, so Sonic the Fighters had a US release, but the cabinet is very rare. And in the US, the game was known as Sonic Championship. When trying to find out just how rare this cabinet was, I was looking around on arcade sites. Apparently, on a scale from 1 to 100, 1 being the rarest and 100 being the most common, the game rated a 1. Only one cabinet showed up for sale on eBay, and only 4 known owners of the cabinet are in the United States. Even the Japanese cabinet has 5 known owners stateside. Needless to say, when they changed the name of the game back to Sonic the Fighters for Sonic Gems Collection, there wasn't a branding issue because no one had heard of this game. Though the original title, Sonic Championship, is a nice touch in Wreck-It Ralph. This game is obscure, but also it's kind of monumental. This is the first time Sonic has ever been presented in 3D, ever, but besides this mess. The game was built on the engine of another fighter, Fighting Vipers. To my surprise, a few years ago, the game received a really high-quality port to the Xbox Live Arcade and PSN. So this game originally featured only 8 playable characters. You have the usual Sonic crew, but then there's Fang, Bark, Bean, and Espio. Espio, of course, has come back, but these 3 have been notoriously absent from most other Sonic games. They did all recently make a cameo in Sonic Mania, but that was an illusion. So to my knowledge, Fang originally made his debut in Sonic Triple Trouble for the Game Gear and continued to be an extra character in other games. Bark the Polar Bear made his debut in Sonic Fighters, so he was the game's own original character. And then Bean the Dynamite is an original character for this game, but he's based on a character from an earlier game called Dynamite Ducks. Also, Amy is referred to as Rosie the Rascal. I guess it was an American branding thing. The version I'm playing is the re-release, not an emulated arcade version or the version on Sonic Gems. Because this game was on Sonic Gems, I always associated it with Sonic R. Like that was Sonic's 3D racing game, and this is Sonic's 3D fighting game. I don't have strong memories about playing it, but that association to Sonic R made me believe that this game was a hot mess. But to my surprise, it's pretty clean. You can easily execute combo moves, dodge, and take hits that drain half your health. I have one major complaint. The first thing you do in any fighting game is press start to check your moves. Okay, start. Nope. Start changes the camera angle. Select pauses the game. I would screw myself over so many times by pressing start and then putting down the controller. Okay, so select. Let's look at these combo moves. Okay, punching 3 times does a triple punch. Neat. This game is repetitive. All you need to do to win is press the same button over and over again. I eventually lost to Metal Sonic, but when I finally beat him, It's not like it was because I changed my strategy, it just happened to work. The challenge of the game comes from a desire to want to change the pace and try out some new moves, but then you get hit because you don't execute the special moves, so you go back to the strategy of pressing the same button over and over again all the way until the end of the game. I guess if you were playing against someone, there might be a need to have strategy, but who the fuck is gonna want to play this game with me? I guess as a positive, the game looks nice. All the characters are really expressive. It's actually a nice surprise. But you can experience this game's visual just from watching the preview footage on Sonic Gems, because watching the game versus playing the game has the same level of participation, without the repetition. It's the kind of game where once you play through it once, you know the whole game. Just like that. I mentioned how this new version was actually a pretty good port, and what I mean by that is they put some effort into it. After the game was released on the GameCube, some geeks,
I prefer to be called a hacker,
discovered that there was a hidden character in the game, Honey the Cat. Huh? Honey the Cat is based off of a character from Fighting Vipers. She was going to be in the original version of the game, but was cut for reasons. I didn't know she was put back into the game or was in the game at all before playing this port. So I kind of just thought my brain had deleted the character from my memory, because it's a... I don't want to insult DeviantArt, but let's take a look. She's got wings, yeah, skirt, human hair, spikes. Solid. 10 out of 10. Also, Robotnik and Metal were added as playable characters, where previously they were just bosses. Oddly enough, 3 years after this re-release, the Sonic formerly known as Archie Sonic did a storyline about Sonic the Fighters. But Archie Sonic is a video for another day. It was just a odd time to do it. Sonic the Fighters' existence is more interesting than the actual game. I mean, it's a Sonic the Hedgehog traditional 3D fighter from 1996. Besides that, there's not much to say about it. It's not challenging, the gameplay is uninspired, and besides its repetition, there's nothing about it that's horrible and can be pointed out. It's just a shallow fighting game where all you have to do is press one button to win. And that concludes my opinions on Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Hey, what's up? Thanks for watching. If this is your first video of mine, subscribe and follow me on all the social medias down below in the description. Also, I just updated my Patreon tiers, so you can go over there to check out what I'm doing next. Continuing my live streams here every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so be sure to check it out when they come. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next week.